the fundamental purpose, the mission that the President's laid out is that we have to go after al-Qaeda. We've got to disrupt and dismantle al-Qaeda and their militant allies so they never attack this country again. Are we making progress? We are making progress. It's harder, it's slower than I think anyone anticipated. But at the same time, we are seeing increasing violence, particularly in Kandahar and in Helmand provinces. Is the strategy the right strategy? We think so, because we're looking at about 100,000 troops being added by the end of August. If you add 50,000 from NATO, we got 150,000. That's a pretty significant force combined with the Afghans. But I think the fundamental key, the key to success or failure, is whether the Afghans accept responsibility, are able to deploy an effective army and police force to maintain stability. If they can do that, then I think we're going to be able to achieve the kind of progress and the kind of stability that the President's after.
Have you seen any evidence that they're able to do that?
I think so. I think what we're seeing, even in a place like Marcia, where there's been a lot of attention, the fact is that if you look at Marcia on the ground, agriculture, commerce is moving back to some degree of normality. The violence is down from a year ago. There is some progress there. We're seeing some progress in the fact that there's less deterioration as far as the ability of the Taliban to maintain control. So we are seeing elements of progress. But this is going to be tough. This is not going to be easy. And it is going to demand not only the United States military trying to take on a difficult Taliban insurgency, but it is going to take the Afghan army and police to be able to accept the responsibility that we pass on to them. That's going to be the key.
It seems as though the Taliban is stronger now than when President Obama took office. Is that fair to say?
I think the Taliban obviously is engaged in greater violence right now. They're doing more on IEDs. They're going after our troops. There's no question about that. In some ways they're stronger, but in some ways they're weaker as well. I think the fact that we are disrupting al-Qaeda's operations in the tribal areas of Pakistan. I think the fact that we are targeting Taliban leadership. You saw what happened yesterday with one of the leaders who was dressed as a woman being taken down. We are engaged in operations with the military that is going after Taliban leadership. I think all of that has weakened them at the same time. So in some areas, with regards to some of the directed violence, they seem to be stronger, but the fact is we're undermining their leadership, and that I think is moving in the right direction.
How many al-Qaeda do you think are in Afghanistan?
I think the estimate on the number of al-Qaeda is actually relatively small. I think at most we're looking at maybe 50 to 100, maybe less. It's in that vicinity. There's no question that the main location of al-Qaeda is in tribal areas of Pakistan.
Largely lost in the trash talking in the Rolling Stone magazine start were some concerns about the war. The chief of operations for General McChrystal told the magazine that the end game in Afghanistan is, quote, not going to look like a win, smell like a win, or taste like a win. This is going to end in an argument. What does winning in Afghanistan look like?
Winning in Afghanistan is having a country that is stable enough to ensure that there is no safe haven for al-Qaeda or for a militant Taliban that welcomes al-Qaeda. That's really the measure of success for the United States. Our purpose, our whole mission there, is to make sure that al-Qaeda never finds another safe haven from which to attack this country. That's the fundamental goal of why the United States is there. And the measure of success for us is, do you have an Afghanistan that is stable enough to make sure that never happens?